Welcome to Hero Wars Info. My name is Ryan. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive on Arachne. We're going to be talking about her strengths, her weaknesses, who she's good against, what teams you should be putting her with, and who are her hard counters. So let's jump into her skills. First one is her ultimate ability, Hyper Jump. Arachne makes a hyper jump towards the lowest health enemy, deals damage, and leaps back. The jump triggers an explosion wave on hitting the target, stunning nearby enemies for 5 seconds. That's important. 95% magic attack plus 7,800 is the damage that's going to be dealt. You'll notice that it is in purple, meaning it is magic attack based. Demolition Robot summons a monster that charges at the first enemy it sees, exploding and stunning enemies for 2 seconds. Explosion damage is 30% magical attack plus 5,200. Minefield. Arachne triggers a minefield under nearby enemies, dealing pure damage. That's 25% magic attack plus 3,900. And lastly, Plasma Explosion. If the target's health drops below 20% during Hyper Jump, Arachne deals extra pure damage. That is a 200% magic attack plus 2,600, so that's pretty strong if she's low health. Now, the reason I pointed out this is magic attack is Arachne is one of the more unique heroes in that she's an agility hero, so physical attack is considered her main stat, but it is not what you want. You want magic attack. So she has magic attack abilities and pure damage heal abilities, no physical attack abilities. That's important to note. So for her skins, she has 4 additional skins besides the agility one. Magic penetration is top priority. Then magic attacks, these 2 magic attacks. Then health. And very, 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 very far behind is the agility skin. The agility skin is the worst of her skins because it only is going to give her armor, because the physical attack only really helps her basic attacks, which don't deal much damage at all anyway. So this is not a priority at all. She is a control hero as well as a warrior. And unfortunately, because she's an agility hero, each point of agility just gives him 1 point of armor and additional physical attack since it's her main stat, but she doesn't use physical attack. You'll notice here too, her magic attack is relatively low because she's an agility hero. Let's take an example of Peppy, for example. Roughly the same amount of levels that I have for both of them. And her magic attack is 23,598, where Arachne's is 10,677, significantly less. So because of that, we're going to run into a few issues with Arachne, that she's not going to be a very strong attacker. Though that's really not what she's good for, but just know she's not a great DPS. Items. For items that you want to build up, it's going to be the Lycanthrope's Fangs and the Throwing Knives, since she is an agility hero. Now for glyphs. Glyphs is kind of interesting for Arachne. She has physical attack, health, armor, magic attack, and agility. Magic attack is priority, followed by health, armor, and then these 2 significantly less. If you really only want to build up these 3 to save some enchantment runes, feel free. These 2 are not very good at all. They basically provide like less than 1% of her value, even if maxed. Artifacts. Arachne has a magic attack or magic penetration artifact, the Hyper Booster DS1. That is her number 1 priority. Number 2 is Defender's Covenant, which gives her armor and magic defense. And number 3 is the Ring of Agility, which, again, just gives her armor and some physical attack for her basic attacks. Honestly, it's a very clear-cut number 1, number 2, number 3 priority order. She is not ascended yet. Eventually, she might be. She's also a member of the Control Branch, so if you want to level her up, you're going to have to use your Eternal Seeds there. Now, let's go ahead and take a fight in seeing what Arachne can do. Now, I'm going up against a Dante, Orion, Augustus, Nebula team. I did put Axel as the pet. It usually comes with Khorus, but I did put Axel as the pet just to show. I'm going with a Lars, Nebula, Aiden, and Polaris team. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what happens. Now, first thing you're going to note is Arachne's not a bad tank. I should point out, and one thing I didn't point out beforehand, she actually has 20% vampirism based off of some of the items that she was given earlier on. So because of that, she can heal herself, and that healing can be great at the front line. I've also had Aiden here to give her a little bit more health, so we're just going to do an Arachne tank situation. So you see her basic attack is right here. And you'll notice in just a sec, so she's about to ult. Now watch what happens. She hits the character with the lowest health, Augustus, and everyone around Augustus is now stunned. That's where her real power comes in. Because now they're stunned. It's only Dante that my team is facing, because these are stunned for a very long time. Now you'll also notice I just stunned Dante. You could have just seen a second ago something come across the screen. It kind of looked like a little robot, and it hit Dante, stunning him as well. So now the entire team is stunned. I used Lars here to, with his ability, move them all together, which is going to make Arachne's next stun even more effective. And I think there's probably going to be one more stun here. Here we go. And boom. Now that entire team is just going to be stun locked into oblivion. There's nothing they can do. They're just going to be taking damage and getting killed. Boom. And my team is pretty healthy for the most part. All right. So strengths, weaknesses. What are Arachne's strengths? Well, number one, she can be very, very good if the enemy team is unprotected, meaning they don't have any anti-control heroes present, and if they're grouped together. So that's the reason I use Lars, to group them together so that Arachne can be even more potent. She can stun lock the entire team almost for the entire battle. So it can be pretty devastating if they don't have a anti-control hero there. She also does have vampirism. You'd be able to see that under her stats right here. Just so you know, this sacrificial dagger gives 5% vampirism. So anyone that has grabbed those, any hero that has that, will have some type of vampirism. That will be very helpful in making her a little bit better of a tank and have a little bit more survivability. Weaknesses? I talked about it a little bit beforehand. She does not deal a lot of damage. Because she's an agility hero, her magic attack isn't very high. She can be a little bit better whenever she's paired with magic attack artifact heroes who can boost that for her. But for the most part, it is not going to, by herself, not going to be dealing a lot of damage. And then she also can be countered relatively easily. If you put a Sebastian or Khorus in, she becomes significantly less effective. Counters. I just talked about them, Sebastian and Khorus. Those are the big two. If you see an Arachne, put those in, and you're good to go. Who is she good against? Every unprotected hero that doesn't have an anti-control, she will be very effective against. I like to use Polaris with her. One of the reasons Polaris has this Northern Lights ability that control effects last 60% longer. So this stun that is already supposed to last 5 seconds will be increased by 60%. And if you have Mara on her, that also increases by an additional 200%. So we're talking about like a 15-second stun if you have a Mara and a Polaris on your team, which is just absolutely nuts. Completely nuts. The other hero I like to use is Lars. Lars has this ultimate ability that drags all the heroes to its eye and applies a watermark on them. Watermarks basically increase the magic damage dealt to those heroes, and it groups them all together. So Arachne is now free to just stun lock them into oblivion. Best pets to use, I mentioned it beforehand, it's definitely Mara. You always want to use Mara with Arachne, bar none. And then overall grade, Arachne can be super fun in the right situations. She is primarily a PvP hero. She's not that great in PvE. She's not great against Dash. She's not great against Maestro. But in PvP, if she is facing the right team, she can be crazy effective. Now, I put her overall grade as a B. And the only reason is she's very easily countered by Sebastian or Khorus, who almost all players have one of the two leveled up. Especially Sebastian, who's a top 2 hero. So because of that, Arachne is pretty counterable for almost everyone. But if you are fighting in a team that doesn't have those, she can be a great addition to those teams. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, put them down below. If you have any suggestions on the next hero I should review, you can also put those in the comments and we'll get to them soon. Thanks for watching.